Welcome to the Charlotte Buzz, where we drink beer from local breweries while telling stories about the neighborhoods they're from. I'm Chrissy, this is Drew, and stay tuned for later in the show when we're going to do a breakdown of the second half of the first round matchups for the Buzz bracket.
Today, we're drinking Love Jones Double IPA from Sycamore Brewing. It is a 9% dipper.
Dip.
Has notes of peach, passion fruit, and honeydew melon, with underlying flavors of bubblegum, cotton candy, and slight earthy pine.
That's a very diverse amount of flavor descriptions.
Kind of all over the place.
Yeah. It was like bubblegum, pine. But can we also take note of how well I've poured this beer?
Well, you're learning.
I'm learning. It's also a half growler, and so I can actually fit this sucker in my hand. I feel sad to leave that little sit, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
All right, you said this is a dipper?
Yes.
All right, I'm diving in. You got anything else about it?
Nope.
I do have to say, I think I'm growing because we did stop by Sycamore, got a flight of several different IPAs. A few were actually pretty hazy looking, and
this was the least hazy.
This was the least hazy one, and it was the one I liked best. So, also spoilers, as I've tasted this just recently, but only minimally. And yeah, the flavor profile, I don't really know how to explain. I almost want to say kind of sweet, like the bubblegummy and stuff I could kind of get behind, I guess. I need another taste.
Well, yeah, I mean, did you even get any?
I mean, it's really strange because the flavor profile, like bubblegum and pine and all of the, like, all those various flavors.
And none of them are hitting you.
I was going to say I could kind of almost see all of them, and so therefore I feel like none of them. I don't really know. You tell me what you got out of it. It kind of looks like apple juice. Especially because I actually poured it well, so it doesn't have all kinds of foam on top. But
yeah, I'm definitely not getting peach compared to the other peach one that we tried there.
That was actually a peach IPA.
Yeah, and it was peachy.
Not as bad as I expected, though. I mean, yeah, it does taste fruity. It does taste kind of sweet, but I could see also that little bit of, like...
I think I get a little bit of pine.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, maybe not sour flavor, but, like, whatever you would deem pine as a flavor.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go quite
earthy.
A bit. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I definitely get a little bit of the pine, more so than cotton candy.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know that I would go straight to the, like, sugary sweet flavors, but it does feel sort of sweet in terms as far as a beer can be sweet. Kind of feels that way.
And maybe passion fruit. Can't say I've ever had anything passion fruit, so I don't know.
I definitely have, but it's not a flavor I could exactly pinpoint for you, so.
I don't really eat fruit.
That's also true. You're a strange one.
So, I mean, I know what peach tastes like, and don't really taste peach. Honeydew melon.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know what that tastes like.
Have you ever had cantaloupe?
I mean, sure.
Like it tastes kind of like
10 years ago.
Slightly blander cantaloupe.
Yeah, no.
All right. So, this is from Sycamore Brewing. They opened in 2013. They actually won several local and international awards for various beers of theirs. They are similar to Old Mech in the sense that they do have a bigger beer garden, and yes, all the breweries tend to have outdoor seating, but they actually consider theirs a beer garden the same way Old Mech does. And Just has a pretty cool setup there right on the Lynx line. And something else I wanted to make mention about Sycamore is that in August of 2018, so not even a year ago, they started making their own cider. And so if you are watching this and happen to notice the growler actually highlights it, and it's Wild Blossom cider that they make, several flavors of their own. Obviously, they distribute it there, and anywhere that Sycamore beer is distributed, they also do the ciders there as well.
Word.
So it's pretty cool. Sort of like Lenny Boyd does, their whole kombucha line. Mm-hmm. It's cool that they have their own kind of duality there as well.
Except where Lenny Boy did kombucha first.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep. Sycamore's cans are usually pretty cool.
It's true. We tried Aurora Borealis. Was that the name of the beer?
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, that can was sick looking.
Yeah. That was also made with Quebec hops, which if you listen to our Noda podcast.
Well, it's not Quebec hops.
Or Quebec yeast. It was
the Quebec
strain.
beer that we had from Noda. Whatever the strain was in that, it's the same yeast in that one. Which was where that bubblegummy thing came from, because Wes at Noda also told us that in Quebec.
This doesn't have Quebec, but...
No, Quebec is the name of the beer.
Yeah.
The hops, it's the same, or yeast, or whatever it was. The ingredient is the same in here.
No. Aurora Borealis. This is Love Jones.
Oh, yeah.
That does
That's
not
what I
have that.
Well, yes, you're right. Then I got nothing. I understand now. My brain is finally caught up on all the things.
Yes.
Quebec and Aurora Borealis have the same ingredient in it, which was described as bubblegummy. This beer we are currently drinking, which is Love Jones, is also described as bubblegummy, but does not have that same ingredient.
Yes.
I'm finally there. Tell us your story about Southend. We're going to talk about Southend because that's where Sycamore is. Please tell us about it and get me out of my own head.
Okay, so October 21st,
Okay.
1852.
All right.
You know what that is?
A minute ago.
It has been known as the single most important event in Charlotte's economic history.
Well, all right.
It is the day the first railroad train arrived in Charlotte.
Cool. Do you know where it came from?
Columbia.
Huh. I mean, back in those days, that was still a trip. So.
Yeah. So construction began on the line in 1847, and when it was finally finished, it was greeted by a tremendous celebration.
Okay. Party time.
When that first train arrived on October 21st, there was a band from Columbia that was already there, I guess.
Well, how did they get there if the train... okay.
I guess the old wagon.
Maybe.
Newspapers at the time estimated there were about 20,000 people there.
That's a lot.
Yeah, a lot for back then. When Charlotte, just a wee little town.
Yeah.
There were speeches and a barbecue.
Naturally.
A dance.
Oh.
And a fireworks display.
Okay.
Sounds like a good old time.
Yeah. I want to know what kind of dancing they was doing.
All of this took place on the lawn of the Female Academy, which we tried to look up, and I couldn't find anything on. So I can't pinpoint exactly where it was in South End.
Yeah, it's probably became something else, because I have a couple of universities, colleges, those kinds of things that are mentioned in what I have to say, and all of them go by a different name now.
Yeah. So I don't know. The line was made possible by Charlotte's business community and entrepreneurs. It was a region-wide effort. Farmers and townsfolk along the route bought stock in the railroad.
Okay.
And local governments also kicked in some cash. But the reason this is important for Charlotte's economic history is it set it apart from similar towns in the area.
How so?
Because they had a railroad.
Okay.
Yeah. So local trade, passengers from Columbia, I guess, were about it.
Do you have, and you may not, but do you have any idea how big Columbia was at that point? Was it like still in its, I mean, to whatever degree it was still in its infancy, I'm sure. But,
yeah.
I mean, was it more of a thriving area than Charlotte at that point? Or,
I don't know that.
I mean, I'm going to just sit here and talk through my thoughts. I guess to a certain degree it would have had to have been if it already had a railroad prepared to come.
Yeah, and it was the capital
of
South
yeah.
Carolina, so.
Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, definitely had to have been at least a little bit further along. Okay.
Yeah, so that's when, once that came into town, that's when you started seeing the textile boom. Factories were able to, that's why they're mainly located in South End.
Yep.
It's because that's where the railroad was.
Gotcha.
So they could get their supplies and export their goods.
Makes sense.
Got to export the goods.
Mm-hmm.
After 1852, Charlotte also had the North Carolina Railroad. Oh, this one was called the Charlotte and South Carolina Railroad.
What?
Naming things that,
we try to be pretty straightforward, I reckon.
They didn't really know what to do. It's kind of like the street names around here. It's like Pineville Matthews.
Yeah.
Let's just name where they connect, and then you have all these road names that are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, how many Rocky Rivers are there? How many Sardis variants are there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're not very good at naming things in this area. So that was 1852. The North Carolina Railroad was completed in 1856, and that connected Charlotte to Goldsboro.
The North Carolina Railroad, the one that's on the Monopoly board?
Maybe.
Hey.
So this one started in Charlotte, ended in Goldsboro, and it ran through Greensboro and Raleigh.
Okay.
So it kind of went up to the right, if you're looking at the map, to Greensboro.
Up and to the right.
Then east for Raleigh, and then down and to the right a little bit for Goldsboro.
Okay.
So after you got, also in Goldsboro, there was a railroad that started going up towards Virginia.
Okay.
So now you've connected Charlotte to Virginia. So now it's a regional hub. You got all the South Carolina, Columbia, and then you go over to Goldsboro, and then you can go up to Virginia.
Cool.
So Charlotte starts becoming a regional powerhouse.
All right.
Because of this. There was actually a railroad called the Atlantic, Tennessee, and Ohio Railroad.
So everybody's really on top of this naming thing.
That was commissioned in 1860. And they got as far as Statesville. Mm-hmm. And that's as far as they got.
They just quit.
So I don't know where in Tennessee and Ohio they were supposed to connect.
Uh-huh. So it started here.
Yeah.
And was supposed to go to Tennessee and...
Yeah.
Huh.
It was called the Atlantic, Tennessee, and Ohio Railroad, and it went from Charlotte to Statesville.
Well, all right.
So it was 47 miles of railroad.
Did they keep it named that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But that's 1860, and now we're getting into the Civil War.
All right.
So in 1863, it was bought by the Confederates and renamed the Piedmont Railroad.
Okay.
And
any travel help at that point is
beneficial. And that was just another connection. I don't think they added to it.
Yeah.
It was just another.
It's an ease of transport at that point, yeah.
So they had another railroad in South End that was supposed to be built. Wilmington, Charlotte, and Rutherfordton Railroad.
Hey.
Which would link
Maybe
Charlotte.
They needed some help from a creative development company.
it would link Charlotte directly to Wilmington, a large port town here in North Carolina.
There you go.
And started construction, but didn't finish because of the Civil War. So that's
That'll happen.
That's two railroads that were hurt by the Civil War, and that's not all that was hurt by the Civil War. Part of the Charlotte, South Carolina Railroad that ran to Columbia was destroyed during various battles. It says even Sherman's March dismantled part of it. So he just came through there and burned her up. Like what he did. After the Civil War, though, and they rebuilt some things, the railroad was renamed from the Charlotte and South Carolina Railroad to the Charlotte, Columbia, and Augusta Railroad.
Oh,
because they finished a line from Columbia to Augusta.
No.
So now we're connected to
I don't
Georgia.
believe you.
Yep.
Nope.
It's in the name. It says it right here. Augusta Railroad. So
I don't believe it.
when it got to Augusta, they're like...
I can't trust that name because we got the whatever, Tennessee, Ohio.
Yeah.
I don't trust that name.
I mean, you just got to take them for their word.
I'm going to have to ride that rail just to know.
So that's what it stayed through, through the early 1900s, 1870 and 1900s. It was just Charlotte to Augusta. It was finally absorbed by the Southern Railway in 1909.
All right.
So I guess it just became part of a larger network. It was not its own thing anymore.
I mean, that does help simplify some of those names a bit.
Yeah.
But
just seems back then that all these railroads were owned by different companies. Mm-hmm. So you would take one to one place, and then you'd get off of it and get on another company's train that would take you the rest of the way that you wanted to go. It's like flying Delta to Atlanta and then getting on Southwest to go to Dallas or something. It's kind of weird. But I did find a cool little tidbit about the Charlotte and South Carolina Railroad. There was a fares, how much the fares cost.
Oh, okay.
Pamphlet. I guess there are some rules in here. So I guess it was carried by the conductor.
Okay.
So to take a ride from Columbia to Charlotte or vice versa, it costs anywhere from $6.50 to $7.
I feel like that's a lot.
It is.
I was like...
Modern day, I did my little Google search.
Do it.
And it's about $200.
Oh, God, yeah. I was like,
from Columbia to Charlotte.
I was like, that is a lot.
But back then,
I mean, that's high technology then, I get
Yeah.
it. That's like a first-class flight, but...
Yeah, I mean, let's get on the wagon and ride to Charlotte and take 5 days.
Let's Oregon Trail it versus...
Or, probably a day.
Yeah.
I mean, trains weren't super fast.
Wow. I mean, I get it, but wow.
Yeah. I did see they started using coal.
COAL, not
Yes.
coil. Coal. Yes.
Engines in 1885.
Okay.
So I guess it was steam before that.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about trains.
I don't know.
I know they go chugga chugga choo choo.
Yeah. So some of the rules that were on here. Mm-hmm. Now that this is 1850s.
Okay.
So these rules will not be very kind. First rule: commissioned officers will be charged full fare. Soldiers on furlough will be charged half fare. Children under 12 and over 5 years of age will be charged half fare.
Okay. Pretty standard.
Negroes of all ages will be charged half fare.
I guess that works in their benefit?
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, there's that gets into a really weird area of...
Well,
of considering their humanity less valuable, but also like taking advantage
Well,
of
also,
it.
would they be? They wouldn't.
They
be
wouldn't be
traveling
traveling
on
by
their-
themselves.
Yeah.
It'd be like as a piece of property.
Yeah, like as
Yeah.
luggage.
That's
It's
terrible.
like
Yeah, I mean, all around it's...
yeah. It says Negroes handcuffed or tied
Oh, God.
must not be taken on the train without a certificate in writing that the company shall not be held responsible for damages in case of accident.
Oh, my God. This is terrible. It's... I mean, I'm not ignorant to our country's history or world history or any of that, but
Yeah.
it's terrible. It's terrible.
It's basically the luggage policy.
I mean, yeah.
Of modern day airlines.
Yeah, that's freaking jacked up.
Passengers taken up between stations will be charged from the last station, and those set down between stations will be charged to the next station beyond.
Well, that don't make no
So
sense.
I guess if you just hold your thumb up, like beside the track, they'd stop and get you.
Huh.
I don't know. I mean, or you had to jump on
Yeah,
as it was going. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, that was even in like more recent history. It's, you know, a relatively common thing to hop on a train, I guess. And
Well, I guess too, if in them old days, I know they used to have to like stop and like fill up with water
yeah,
and stuff like that. So maybe like while they're stopped doing maintenance,
someone just shows
someone
up.
could just get on and they'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, sure. I mean, we'll charge you from Columbia.
I mean, sure. All right.
And it says no fare taken less than 50 cents.
Okay.
So there were more stops. It wasn't just like
Right.
from Columbia
Yeah, it
to
wasn't-
Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I guess if that fare, I don't know why they would just not make it less than 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're saying like, don't give us pennies to pay for your fare.
Okay,
I'm not
wait,
sure
reread
which.
it.
It says no fare taken less than 50 cents.
I think it's saying like the minimum you would ever pay is 50 cents.
Okay.
Everything, like even if technically
It's a
from
20
one
cent
stop,
ride.
right, you're still gonna pay 50 cents.
Okay.
I
But they'd still make it a 20 stop ride so that they can add it from the last one, maybe. Like if you went through 2 stops, it'd be 70 cent. So
maybe
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure. I just kind of liken it, at least the way I read it, is kind of like if you go to a tattoo shop, which I know is not quite your forte, but basically most shops have a $50 minimum. And so even if you just got like literally one dot of ink on your skin, you're going to pay $50 and that's for all the brand new needles and materials and everything that they're opening. So, and then, you know, obviously as the piece gets bigger, then easily adds up. But
Yeah.
cool.
But that's it. The first Charlotte Railroad.
So it quite literally put Charlotte on the map.
Yeah. Seems like it. I mean, if just some Charlotte businessmen were like, hey, let's get a railroad, and they got a railroad, seems like it was pretty small town and kind of put it on the map, I guess.
All right. So it was October 21st of what year?
1852.
52. All right. Well, I'm going to take us about 40 years in the future
Okay.
of then. Still obviously quite in the past, but so we go from that area in started, like you said, it put us on the map, made it a little more developed. It brought in a more industrial, not revolution, but, you know, like an industrial sphere influence. We started getting more of the mills. We talked about some of the Noda mills in the past. This is where we got Atherton Mills, some of the mining, all kinds of things there. And we actually have a pretty notable guest into the Charlotte area.
Who dat?
One Mr. Thomas Edison
Oh, yeah?
liked to spend some time in this area. And in 1891, he made friends with a gentleman named Edward Dilworth Latta, which both of those names should be
Yes.
familiar. So Thomas had Oh, I called him Thomas by his first name. Like,
Yeah.
we buds.
You know him.
We buds. So
You drink Love Jones with him?
duh. So good old Tommy boy. He was here. And he actually was trying to do some crazy experiment with, shocker, electricity. No pun intended on the shocker. That was just convenient stupidity on my part. Trying to do some electrical experiments with the mining industry and seeing if he could kind of pull gold from, I want to say, the quartz in the area. I don't know. Whatever he was trying to do didn't work. That's all I know.
Okay.
Which is not the point of my story. But so he made friends with Edward Dilworth Latta in 1891, and they worked together to start developing the Dilworth community, which was actually Charlotte's first official suburb. And again, who knew, helped develop the electric streetcar. Makes sense. So 2 years later, in 1893, this Edward Dilworth Latta hires a man by the name of Charles Christian Hook, a.k.a. C.C. Hook.
Captain?
Yes. Yes. He was missing a hand. No, just kidding.
What?
So, C.C. Hook is an architect, and he was hired to provide designs for 5 new styles of housing in the Dilworth area to help increase the sales and develop that suburb. Ultimately, he was the region's first professional architect. Not quite sure how big the region is, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, it was just him for quite some time. He ended up actually designing 35 home styles for Latta and introduced the colonial revival style to the region. I don't really know anything about houses, so I couldn't exactly tell you what that means, but it's his fault that it's here.
Flat front brick looking.
I'm not sure, because he did, out of the 5 original styles that he was kind of hired to bring into the area, there were some like American Revolutionary, colonial, like several different styles there. And then he ended up just growing and developing and becoming this huge architectural design firm in the area and just kind of taking over. So something I thought interesting that I read about him was that he actually passed away when he was 68 years old.
Okay. Interesting.
And he died under, quote, suspicious circumstances. He had gone up to the 12th floor of an office building, and he, quote, fell out of a window and died. And so the original report came back that he either fell, jumped, or was pushed, and no one could confirm. The family basically talked the coroner into saying it was just, he had vertigo, like it was an accident, he was fine.
Insurance. How to get that insurance money.
So there's definitely a reasonable explanation for it, but the fact that anybody at all presented it as suspicious
Is suspicious.
Right. It makes it suspicious. So, I mean, like, if it was just really well known, like, he's got vertigo, things happen, whatever, like, it was bound to happen, why, like, there never should have been a question.
Yeah.
But there was a question somewhere along the way, and so that makes me more suspicious about it.
You heard it here first. He was pushed.
Edison did it. He was trying out a new experiment, and it shocked him right out the building.
Possibly.
So some of the notable designs by Mr. C.C. Hook was Edward Dilworth Latta's home,
Okay.
James B. Duke's home.
Is that the...
Yes.
Okay.
William Henry Belk's home.
Mr. Belk?
Yes, sir.
I don't know why my voice was like, well.
You were just starstruck.
Yeah.
The first 5 buildings for what is now called Queen's University. I believe at the time it was just Queen's College, but...
Yeah.
Several buildings for what is now Duke University, which I believe was like Trinity something or other back in the day. Nonetheless, what is now Duke University. Some of the first buildings for Davidson College, the Charlotte City Hall,
Current?
I believe so, the Charlotte Theater, and something for
Carolina Theater?
Yes, that's what I
The
meant.
one that they're redoing now?
Yes. I'm looking at too many lines at once. The Carolina Theater. And for our Matthews folk, the Seaboard Airline Railroad Passenger Station. He also did several other railroad stations.
I've seen that.
He did several firehouses.
Yeah.
Like, he basically ran the area.
Huh.
And several of his buildings are on the U.S. National Register of Historic Places. So several, over 100 years later, many of his designs still stand. Which
I'm sure all those college ones are on the historical. Yeah.
So something that I wanted to specifically highlight and why I brought this story in is when I was reading about this and what actually drew me to the story in the beginning is that C.C. Hook's relationship with Edward Dilworth Latta actually started when his business, his architectural firm, was only 2 years old. And then he ultimately became this crucial staple of design and development into the South End and Charlotte area. And so there's actually a lot of history in South End that is rooted in design, whether it's more the architectural kind of technical design, but even through history, it becomes more of the artistic and kind of freeform type of design. And so all in all, that is what brought my attention to the story, because I'm a person, so I think of myself often, I guess. And for anybody listening or watching this that doesn't know, the Charlotte Buzz is not our first primary business venture, I guess.
Okay.
We are actually Van Gogh Creative, and so we are a creative design firm. And we are actually this year in our second year of business, and not intentionally do, I would say, the majority of our business in the South End area.
Yeah.
And so, not that I consider us, nearly as influential or anything as C.C. Hook was or is or any of that, but I just thought it was a really cool kind of nod to the future of, like, we're in a very similar place with our business as he was when he got started in the area. And I just think it's cool how rooted in design of all forms that South End is, and that's kind of where we're primarily working out of right now. And so it just, the personal ties there drew me into it, and I thought that was really cool, and I'm hoping that someday we can have the opportunity to have as big of an impact in developing Charlotte in the digital sphere as he had in the brick and mortar sphere. Cool. So I thought that was cool.
We're starting to make some connections with people. Maybe not Dilworth Latta level.
Yeah, not yet.
Maybe they will be.
Someday.
So.
But with that in mind, I do want to mention that as part of our kind of growing community in the South End area is we have made friends with the folks who run South End Social, and they are committed to keeping the South End Social clean and pure and just, keeping it an enjoyable place for everybody to have fun in. And so each fall and spring, they do these cleanups once a month.
Volunteers.
Yes, volunteers. And so we're actually a sponsor of them, and I love being part of that community and just getting involved with them. So we wanted to let y'all know that on March 24th, this month, there will be the first spring cleanup, and registration starts at 9:30 a.m. at the Bland Street Station, March 24th. And then the cleanup goes from 10 to 12, and the volunteer appreciation goes from 12 to 2, and that will be at the Union. And so the first 50 volunteers who sign up get a free t-shirt and a free beer ticket, which they can redeem for a free beer at the Union for the volunteer appreciation. And then when you get to the volunteer appreciation, there's over $1,000 in raffle prizes that will be happening. And then there's all kind of contests throughout the day of, I believe
Heaviest bag.
There's heaviest bag. There's going to be the most unique item collected will get a gift card from Unknown.
Oh.
Like a couple of different people in the area have donated to different, I believe there's like a social media photo contest. The person with a certain type of photo gets another gift card for a different location. And
So it stepped up a bit since last time, huh?
Yep. They're building it up. So we would love to see y'all out there. We will actually be there the whole day on March 24th.
Probably handing out waters.
Yeah.
Not too sure yet, but
Stickers and some little freebie giveaways if you want any of that. If you just want to meet us and tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly about your brackets, we'd love to hear it and chat with you about that as well.
because we'll be deep in the voting by then.
Yeah, we will.
Nothing you can do about it.
Yep. It is what it is at that point. But we'd love to see you all, and we hope you guys get a chance to go out and just help support the community the way we've enjoyed supporting it. But now we're going to make a shift and dive deep into the second half of the matchups for round one. Mm-hmm. So I'll say the quick tidbit of brackets are due at the end of the day today. Anything that comes in midnight or later is not accepted. So make sure that you get your brackets in today. Right now, if you haven't, vanguardcreative.com/buzzbracket. We will link it everywhere. And voting for the first round will start tomorrow. So we'll give you a little more details on that later after we do all the breakdown. So take us in.
So we're moving on to the right side of the bracket. Round one previews. Mm-hmm. And that starts with Birdsong at number 1 and 26 Acres,
Okay.
16 seed. I'm going to tell you when they were founded. I'll give you their Untapped score, which is just their average score on Untapped. And then their top 3 players, or top 3 beers, as according to Untapped.
Cool.
So, number 1 seed, Birdsong, founded 2011.
Yes.
Their Untapped score is 3.73.
All right.
Top 3 players are Jalapeno Pale Ale. Mm-hmm. It is a spiced herbed beer, is what it says. Higher Ground IPA, an American IPA, and Lazy Bird Brown Ale, as you guessed it, a brown ale.
What? Nah.
The number 16 seed.
Thankfully, our breweries have much, even with some of the straightforwardness in the naming, they are much better than our railroad stations in how they name stuff.
Yeah.
They're much more creative.
Yeah, because it would just be called Birdsong Pale Ale.
Yep.
Birdsong Brown Ale.
Yep. Brown ale number 1, number 2, number 3.
So 16 seed, it's 26 Acres, founded in 2016. Untapped score of 3.75.
Oh, that's
And
what was the other one was 3.7 something also.
3.73.
Okay.
Their top 3 players are Unicorn Milk.
Hey,
It is a cream
that's a
ale.
name.
Industrious People Ale, an American IPA.
I mean, I'm intrigued.
Industrious People Ale, so IPA.
Hey, I see what they did there.
And
I like it.
Reptar Juice, a New England IPA.
Oh my gosh, I want to try it. I am all about the 90s nostalgia. Hey
Well, you'll have
Arnold
to
for
head over
life,
to
but I will take the Rugrats themed. Yeah, we need to go.
Yeah, you'll have to head on over to Concord.
26, you've got my attention. Carry on.
So that's the 116.
Well, I will say, I have been to Birdsong.
Yes.
We were actually there for, I believe, their 6th anniversary a year or 2 ago. And got a nice little glass. And that was when they released Sexy Hop. Or it was very near the time they released Sexy Hop.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. It's still not my favorite in terms of all Charlotte beers, but I enjoyed it.
It was snowing.
It was snowing.
Yeah.
I was like, we walked around, but yeah, in the morning it was snowing, and then it like chilled out because shocker, we live in the Carolinas. But I'm definitely intrigued by this 26 Acres. I've never been, but they've got IPAs on their list and freaking Reptar Juice, man.
Yeah.
I gotta try them out. That's a hard one to call, and their Untapped are very similar.
Yeah.
Based on exactly what's written, I'd almost want to call it for 26 acres, but again, I tend to have loyalty to some place I've been and can actually speak for. So I feel very torn on this one.
Yeah, I feel like Birdsong's going to get the W
Sure.
just because of the...
Yeah, local. I'm not that 26 isn't local, but
just because of its well-knownness.
Yeah,
So
a little more distribution.
I mean,
and
if we're
they're
going-
older.
If we're going pure analyst,
Sure.
I think Birdsong.
Speaking from the heart.
Yeah.
Stop
Sure.
speaking from the numbers.
I'm going statistics.
All right, so who's next?
We have the 8-9, which is D9 Brewing, which is the 8th seed.
Irony.
And the 9 seed is Divine Barrel.
Okay.
So D9 Brewing was founded 2014 with an untapped score of 3.8.
Ooh, okay.
Their top 3 players, Hakuna Matata. and
See, these
IPA.
people are my favorites who do these.
Have you not had Hakuna Matata?
I think I have.
Yeah.
But it was also, I'm pretty sure I've had it at one of the festivals, and so I knew I got excited over the name, but it's in the
ordered it a
blurred
few
lines
times.
of a festival.
Yeah. So Brown Sugar Brown Cow
Brown sugar,
Is it-
brown cow.
is a brown ale.
That's great.
And
Props to your namers, D9.
I meant to look up how to say this word, but we're just going to carry
Yeah,
on
let's
with
do
all
it.
our other episodes.
Our
and we
ignorance
don't know how to
everywhere.
do it. So Viking Frouch, Frouch, Frauch.
I don't know.
Well, Scottish sour.
Yeah, it
It's
was
a
like
sour
Scottish.
ale.
That could be Gaelic. That could be like, you only need 2 of those letters.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have no idea.
It's a beer. They have it. It's a sour ale.
Teach us how to say the words, people.
9-seed Divine Barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Founded in 2018 with an untapped score of 3.94.
Sure.
For
For those of you who
yeah.
didn't watch or listen to last week's episode when we broke down the first 16, we made a commentary about the
newness
newness
versus the high score.
to the level of the quantity of reviews on Untapped are obviously less because they are newer, so the scores tend to be higher with newer breweries until they get enough time for people to come in and troll them, more or less.
Yeah, so their top 3 players, Cadillac Rainbows,
All right.
a German sour, Foamy Weather,
Hey.
a New England IPA, Finger Guns,
What?
a West Coast Dipper,
Ooh.
double IPA. So that's the 8-9.
That one's hard to call too.
We've had a couple people actually say that them being 8 and 9 was a travesty, that they should be higher.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a tough one, I think.
And
I
that'll,
think we're going to be about 50-50.
I could see that for sure.
I mean, yeah. I think D9 being kind of established, most people's had a Hakuna Matata probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is
I think if I'm going
the age.
analyst,
Yeah,
going
age
D9.
age favors newer breweries when it comes to Untapped, but in our voting probably favors the established and just surely by recognition. And I don't know how I would call this one. I've definitely had both of their beers, both of them at festivals. I haven't been to either one physically, so I can't really distinguish flavors. I love the way they name both of them. That's a toss-up. That just really comes down to whoever activates their
hoard.
Yeah, their hoard better.
So here we have a 5-12 matchup.
Now, this is the one that you said 5-12 is where it can...
Yeah, this is where this is where 12s can beat 5s.
Yes.
It's been known to happen in the NCAA.
Okay.
Usually when I'm filling out my NCAA bracket, I make sure that I've picked at least 1-12 to beat a 5.
Okay.
This one is kind of near and dear. This one's going to be a tight race
Yeah, it is.
in terms of getting people voting.
Yes.
5 is Legion Brewing and 12 is Legal Remedy.
And yeah, when we first went live with the bracket in general. These are the first two that really caught on and
promoting it.
Yeah. So
they're going to have their horde activated.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, either one of these could take the whole thing because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been promoting the longest and the hardest. So other breweries, you got less than a day. So make it happen. But I mean, these two are
But shout out to them too.
Yeah. We appreciate you for latching on and supporting, and maybe you'll get the chance to hoist the Golden Growler.
So 5 would be Legion Brewing. Mm-hmm. They were founded 2015 with an untapped score of 3.76.
All right.
Top 3 players, Juicy J, and all of its variants probably.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them.
An American IPA. One that I hadn't heard of, Carolina Sparkle Party.
Oh, I've not heard of that either.
It's a kettle sour.
Ooh, that's probably
why. Freedom Park Pale Ale.
Okay.
It's an American Pale Ale. Seen this because it's got the little duck.
Yes. I've seen that.
12 is Legal Remedy. Founded in 2015 as well.
Hey.
With an untapped score of 3.82.
Ooh.
Their top 3 players, World Court Mocha Blonde Stout.
I mean, there's a lot of flavors in that name, and I'm intrigued.
It's a blonde stout.
I know, but I'm intrigued.
Double Indemnity. Is that how you say it?
I don't know. What's the word?
Indemnity.
Where am I looking? That's jalapeno. Indemnity?
Indemnity.
Sure.
Double Indemnity.
Double
IPA.
Dipper.
Yes, a dipper.
All right.
Jury panel, Jalapeno Pineapple Ale. It's a cream ale. So, a lot going on.
Yeah. That's a pretty wide variety, actually. I don't know that we've seen that big of a variety in the top 3 players. Typically, there's either like 2 IPAs or 2 of the same style.
Yeah, they got a lot going on.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, user voted on Untapped. So that's actually, I think, says a lot to their range.
Yeah. They, kind of an establishment in Rock Hill. So,
All right. Yeah, like I said, I think that one's going to be a really hard one to call, aside from being a typical 5-12 matchup. But, yeah, like both of those have worked really hard to activate their hordes on this and have been promoting the longest. So that might be what you called last week the Cinderella. That might be one of my, and I don't know how low a number needs to be a Cinderella, but either one of them I could see going at least Final Four, if not all the way, because of how much they've taken to the promotion of this. So, again, big shout out and thanks to you guys because we really appreciate it. But good luck to you.
Yep. So now we're at the 4 verse 13. 4th seed is Catawba. 13th seed Town Brewing.
All right.
Catawba, founded here in Charlotte.
Yes.
In 2017, but they've been around since 1999.
Yikes. That's old for a brewery.
Yes.
I mean, they're from the greater Asheville area.
Yeah, Morganton.
Where there's, we think we've got a lot here in Charlotte, and it's nowhere near what they've got there. But, wow. Okay. But yes, in the Charlotte area since 2017.
Yeah.
Which they do actually brew here. We've, covered this on an earlier podcast, so we'll consider them ours.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're kind of...
I mean, yeah.
Their untapped score is 3.64.
Is that... Does Untapped distinguish between Charlotte and...
No.
So that's impressive. I mean, I don't know that there was Untapped since 1999.
Definitely not.
Right. But whenever it started, I mean...
Yeah.
That's impressive for that long, I would say.
You probably, had to call a landline and, see what beers they had on tap.
I mean, you might.
When they first started.
99.
You probably had the rotary phones. You had to...
I mean... Dude, I was in middle school in 99.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing Little League Baseball at least.
Wow. Okay.
So, their top 3 players, White Zombie Ale. It's a wit beer. Or Vit beer.
Fit beer. Yes.
Peanut Butter Jelly Time. A brown ale.
I'm looking at you, Frank. I know that's your jam.
Yeah.
Always getting caught at Catawba instead of home with the babies every year.
When PB&J comes out. Yeah. Hopness Monster IPA.
Ooh, yeah. That was my first one that I
American
really
IPA.
liked at Catawba.
Yeah.
And then they came out with CLT and now.
Yep. I was going to give you an honorable mention for that one. They have one named CLT.
Yeah.
After CLT.
What?
13 Town Brewing. New kids on the block. Founded 2018.
In that Fremore West area
Yeah.
of town.
New kids on the Fremore West block.
Yes.
Average score or untapped score 3.8. Top 3 players are My Apologies, You're Welcome. A New England IPA. Broken Tarded, a sour.
What?
And Escape Plan, an American IPA.
Had that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so we haven't been since opening weekend.
Right.
And there were a couple that we wanted to try
Haven't
that weren't
had a
ready
chance.
yet.
Yeah.
So we need to go back.
We do. But I did really enjoy the ones we had there
Yeah.
when we did go.
Yeah.
I also think this one's a tough matchup. This is one where I have been to both. I do enjoy both. I think they both have really great range and just styles of beer. So I find it a little bit difficult, but for the sake of like truly being a Charlotte bracket, I might have to give it to Town on this one.
Ooh, okay.
I have spent way more time at Catawba than I have at Town.
Mm-hmm.
I can, easily pull more names from Catawba than I can from Town. And I do not diss Catawba one bit. I'm really happy with everything they do and make. But since Town actually started right here in Charlotte and Catawba didn't, I feel like just out of local pride, I have to just give that little bit of an edge to Town. But I don't know.
I mean,
I
I'm
don't
going to
know.
go statistical
Yeah, statistically,
and
Maybe
say
not.
Catawba.
yeah.
Just sheer numbers.
Yeah, totally understandable, totally fair. And like I said,
Numbers, exposure.
if they were up against maybe somebody else, totally different story.
Yeah. So now we're at the 6 seed and 11 seed. 6 seed Sycamore and 11 seed King Canary.
Okay,
Sycamore we're drinking right now.
sure are.
They were founded in
I'm gonna top you off a
2013.
little bit while you talk about them too.
As we said earlier, founded 2013. Their untapped score is 3.75.
Oh, that's pretty high, considering 2013.
Their top 3 players are Mountain Candy,
Yep.
an American
Classic.
IPA, Countryside IPA, an American IPA,
It's like I don't know if I've had that, but I'm sure I have actually.
and Southern Girl, a blonde ale.
Okay.
King Canary, founded 2018.
Ooh, okay.
Their untapped score is 3.83.
Rookie numbers. Okay. Okay.
Top 3 players, Cuckoo Clock.
I see what they did there.
I think that's what that is. Is that how
Yes.
you spell cuckoo?
Yeah.
Okay. Cuckoo Clock, a New England IPA. Mango Grizzly, a milkshake IPA.
Does it bring the boys to the yard? I would be interested to try that one though. I don't know what that means exactly. Like a milkshake IPA. I don't really know what that means, but I am definitely interested to try it because 1, mango, 2, IPA, and maybe milkshake means it's a little like thicker, maybe like the hazy type of stuff that I prefer. So maybe, I don't know. I want to try it. Let's try it.
And then Nothing But Nest.
Nice.
Kind of fits with the March Madness theme
Yeah.
and their bird theme.
Mm-hmm.
It is a DIPA, double IPA.
I want to try all these.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've had anything.
I don't think I have either.
I was like, they might have been at one of the festivals, but sorry if you were. But it's not. Yeah, it's not ringing a bell.
I think they're up like Lake Norman area.
Yeah. And I don't think if they were founded in 2018, I don't think we've been to a festival in the latter half of 2018.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So if they had just come out, I don't know that they would have been at a festival either way.
Yeah.
Fair
We'll
enough.
give them a shot when we get a chance.
Yeah, so right now, as that matchup stands, by numbers, by just where I've been, all of that, I'd have to give it to Sycamore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Same.
I am no qualms with Kim Canary. I would definitely love to go check it out and give some of these delicious sounding beverages a taste. And maybe the people up there, activate your horde, because I just don't know. Refute my ignorance with your votes if you need to.
Yeah.
I can only vote on something I actually know, so.
True.
All right, so what do we got next?
The 3 seed versus 14 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Free Range and Blue Blaze.
Ooh, okay.
3 seed Free Range was founded in 2015. An untapped score of 3.76.
Oh, pretty high again for that time.
Top 3 players: Cream of the Crop Cream Ale.
Mm-hmm.
Bob's Pure Intentions Brown Ale.
Mm-hmm.
And Sea of Companions Oyster Stout.
What?
Yeah,
Is that a thing? Apparently it's a thing.
I guess.
What?
I don't think I'm going to be giving it a shot.
Yeah, I was like, not gonna lie. Like, rock on. Y'all do your seafood, do your oyster. I like seafood, but do your oysters. Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, nah. 14 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Blaze.
Okay.
Founded in 2016 with an untapped score of 3.67. Their top 3 players are Black Blaze Milk Stout, a milk stout.
What?
Yellow Blazer Kolsch, a Kolsch.
Okay.
And Pink Blazer Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen? Yes,
It is
Hefeweizen.
a Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen. Okay, so that matchup is... Go back. I can't see it. Okay, so for that matchup, that's actually, I think personally, a pretty hard one to call. I have not been to either of theirs physically. I have definitely had both of theirs in a blurred lines scenario of a festival. On the one hand, and none of them have an IPA in their top 3 either, so I can't even try to play that game. I'm gonna have to call this one purely on stupid naming rights, and I like that Blue Blaze is named for the trail markers when you're hiking.
Yeah.
And so that's what their mark is, just a little blue from paint, a little paint slash. And it's you're going through the woods and you're hiking, and that's how they mark the trails, is with these little kind of dashes or colors marked on the trees. And I dig that. And I come from Northeast Pennsylvania, where we call it the Appalachian Mountains.
Wrong.
And I'm learning to say Appalachian, but that's what I grew up saying. And I grew up in the heart of them and did a lot of hiking and stuff growing up. So I'm going to have to give it to Blue Blaze, just strictly on, I guess, nostalgia. But
yeah, I think I'd go non-statistically, I'd say Blue Blaze too, because I like their little sticker that I got. Mm-hmm. Just a little blue,
it's the little things, a little
blue paint strip.
Yeah. It's the little things sometimes.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Y'all decide.
Yep.
So now we're at the 7-10.
7-10 split.
Yes.
Wrong sport. Is that a sport?
It's bowling.
Is it a sport?
Bowling?
Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
one of those debatable.
No.
Okay.
There's professionals. I mean, if a perfect
There's
score
professional chess players.
if
Is
perfect
that a
score
sport?
is 300 and there's a ball involved and it's hard for me to get over like a 130, then, I'll call it a sport because
Okay.
you got to practice.
I mean, yeah, but same thing. Is like there's professional chess players. You got to practice. Not a ball involved. I get that, but
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Sure.
it's not. I'm just.
Some people call it a sport.
I know. That's why I'm asking.
Sure.
I'm asking the rhetorical question because truly I don't know and I don't
I'd say yes.
have a hardcore preference either way.
Do you have to be athletic to do it? Probably not. So,
We digress.
would it help? Probably.
Anyway, 7-10 matchup.
7-2. 7 seed Triple C,
Okay.
10 seed 4001 Yancey. Brewers at 4001 Yancey.
4001 Laurel.
Yancey.
It's definitely Laurel, guys. Not the brewery, but it's definitely Laurel.
Yeah, whatever. Triple C, founded 2011 with an untapped score of 3.75.
Oh, that's really high for that age.
Top 3 players, the Baby Maker.
I am a fan of that.
Dippa.
I always feel like an idiot ordering it, but
Yeah.
I am a big fan of it.
They're pretty good. 3C IPA, American IPA.
Sure.
We've all had it.
Yep.
And Golden Boy Blonde, a blonde ale.
I know you're maybe not the biggest blonde ale fan either, but it's got your name baked right in.
Yeah. So does the next brewery.
Oh, no. All right.
Brewers at 4001 Yancey. This one's a tricky one because it's actually 3 breweries.
That kind of joined forces to make a mega location.
Yes, none of which are from Charlotte.
But they are now currently brewing in Charlotte. So
Yeah.
similar to Catawba in that sense, but instead of just one brewery, it's 3 that joined forces.
Yeah. So, founded 2018 is what we're saying. I didn't look up when they each were. I didn't really
But yes,
care.
in the Charlotte, yeah. I mean, who cares outside of Charlotte? So, in the Charlotte area.
Yeah. They also didn't have an untapped score because they were considered a venue. So, what I did
But
was...
they brew there, right? Like, they actually brew it
Yeah.
there.
Some of them.
Okay.
So, what I did was I took the untapped score for Southern Tier,
Okay.
Victory, and 6 points.
Yes.
Yeah, 6 point. And I averaged their scores together. I averaged their average scores together.
Okay.
So their untapped score is the same as Triple C,
Ooh.
3.75.
Okay.
Top 3 players, I'm going with the top player from each.
Okay.
Southern Tiers is Pumpkin, the Imperial Pumpkin Ale.
Which they did a crossover T-shirt thing with 704 Shop.
Yep, seen that yesterday
Sure did.
when I got this train shirt here.
I got me some nice Buzz
Hat.
Bracket Van Gogh Creative colored Charlotte crown hat.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I gotta wear it in. It looks a little funny on me, but we'll get there.
Golden Monkey by Victory.
Yep.
It's a Belgian triple.
So do you want to be a golden boy or a golden monkey? Golden monkey makes me think of what's the show? The Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I don't think the monkeys were gold though.
Well, so you needed the monkey shrine. You needed the 3
Yeah.
pieces and to put it together, and nobody could put it together in time. I always wanted to be a silver snake.
I don't remember what was it like?
Blue barracudas,
Yeah.
silver snakes,
What?
red iguanas,
Yeah, that sounds right.
purple monkeys,
What was the Jaguars? Wasn't there a Jaguar?
green. There was green something, and jaguar was something. There was orange iguanas, red jaguars,
I don't know.
green. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways.
They tried to alliterate them the best they could.
Out of these three breweries, 6 Point, their top beer is Resin, an Imperial IPA.
Ooh.
That looks pretty decent. We might have to give that a shot if we haven't already. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We have tried quite a few there.
Yep. So, I think you got to go with Triple C.
I mean, yeah, I think it comes down to local pride, local hordes, and time in the area, and Triple C wins that on all fronts.
I mean, if 6 Point, Southern Tier, and Victory combine their efforts, then they'd obviously have more backing,
in the Charlotte area.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if nothing else, what are the three of them?
Southern Tier, Victory,
Southern Tier.
6 Point.
I was like, I know Southern Tier at least is like upstate New York because I was very near where I went to grad school.
6 Point is New York.
Yeah, I was like, I imagine they're all generally from that area.
Victory is Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's my neck of the woods for real. But yeah, like I'm from that area, and so I'm like, I mean, that's far away. That's not really going to do them all that much good. I mean, in voting it could, but people have more at stake if they get a bracket in and then vote on behalf of their bracket. But I would have to give that one to Triple C. I think 4001 Yancey is a really great venue, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I think they've got, it's huge. They've got really good food. And I enjoy a lot of the beers that come out of it. But yeah, if we're going, straight local pride and local horde and all of that, I mean, Triple C all the way.
Yeah. So now we're at the last one, the 2 versus the 15.
All right.
On this, the bracket. Number 2 seed is Heist. And number 15 is Amour Artis.
All right.
I think that's how you say it. If you did it, Artis.
I believe so.
Could just be artist. Amour Artis.
We'll be fancy about it. Artis.
Yeah, Amour Artis. So Heist was founded 2012. An untapped score of 3.97.
Holy crap.
Yep.
I mean, that's not quite as high as Resident Culture was. They were the highest, right?
Yeah, but Heist has been around.
Right, but that's what I mean is like not quite as high number-wise, but for how many years... High Branch, you're right. But for how many years they've been around, that's insanely high. So,
top 3 players, Citriquential, a New England IPA. Blurred is the Word, an American IPA. And Hive Fives, a blonde ale.
Okay.
15 seed, Amour Artis, founded 2018. Untapped score of 3.83.
All right. I mean, still new, but okay. Yeah. Rookie season.
Top 3 players, Cruising Down the Street in my 6.4%.
That's awesome.
An American IPA.
All right.
Suspesso Coffee Blonde.
Ooh, coffee.
A blonde ale. And Majestic Session IPA. A session IPA.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Again, going on age, going on familiarity, going on insane numbers. Yeah. You have to give that to Heist. There's no way you don't. Sorry, Amour Artis. I mean, sorry. Yeah, I've never been to your place. I'm sure it's great.
I think we've had their stuff, though. I think we've seen them at
some festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
Totally interested in trying more of your stuff and actually coming out to your place. But at this point so far, still being in rookie season and whatnot, I'm going to have to give this one to Heist, no question. And I've had 2 other 3 tops. They do come out with a lot of really good IPAs that I enjoy. And
yeah, Stratisfaction. We had that on the show.
That was our first episode.
Yep.
But
so that does it for the right side. High Branch still has the highest untapped score.
Potentially Cinderella spot.
Yep, with a 4.09. Highest untapped score on the board.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it could really go any which way because also all of these rankings were put together based on social media followers. Yeah. So if everybody promotes and activates their hordes, if equally across the board everybody does that, that may mean something. But as of right now, we've only got a couple that have really latched on and gotten real into the promotion so far. We'll see once voting starts, but
yeah.
It'll get interesting. I'm really excited to see how it goes. So, a few housekeeping things in terms of the bracket that we wanted to remind you of. Brackets are due today. So if you have not already gotten it in, get it in before midnight. Anything that comes in after midnight will not be accepted.
Yeah.
So get it in.
$100, guys.
You know, that's what, 2 nights
Two nights of fun.
2 nights of beer fun. That could be yours. So it's free to enter. It takes you 5 minutes tops. You just got to click a bunch of buttons and hit submit.
Yeah.
So make sure you get your brackets in today. Voting will start tomorrow for round 1, and it will go tomorrow the 15th through Monday the 18th. 18th? 19th? 18th. It'll go through Monday. You can vote on Instagram. It'll be on our story at Van Gogh Creative, VANGO Creative. I almost said .com. At Van Gogh Creative. In our Instagram stories, we will post a new vote for each matchup each day of the voting. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So if you keep coming back, you get a chance to vote
Multiple
4 times.
Yeah.
We will also have voting on Twitter. Same thing, at Van Gogh Creative. We will also have voting on the Charlotte Reddit thread. So that's r/Charlotte. So keep a lookout for the thread popping up there with all the voting. So in theory, you can vote up to 4 times on our Instagram story, once on our Twitter, and once on the Reddit thread. So you can get up to 6 votes in for each round, for each matchup, for each round.
And if you're not sure, just on Instagram, vote it the other way next time.
Yeah. So get all your votes in and just pay attention and get them in there. And then next week, we will announce the first round winners and move into the next.
Yeah, preview in the second round after that.
Yes, we'll be previewing those next week as well. You want to talk about potential tiebreakers? It could get interesting, folks.
Yeah, we're not real sure, but we think it's possible that there will be multiple brackets that win. So we need to figure out a way to break that tie.
Sure.
So right now we're thinking if it's not too many people that tie, we will do some kind of drinking game at the winning brewery.
Yes. So
Yeah, just stay tuned. We may not even have to deal with it. There may be a sole winner.
but if there's not, there's going to be a lot more fun and chaos to ensue.
Yeah.
So make sure you're paying attention and keeping up with who wins and where we're at. And we'll be contacting, at the very end of all this, we'll be contacting anyone who gets there. But again, the winning matchups are all dependent on you and your votes. So make sure you're coming back and voting on all the different social media platforms, because whoever you've chosen to win, you're more likely to get your bracket to be the best if you're coming back and voting and getting the people around you to come back and vote for them.
Mm-hmm. So subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube and leave your comments there.
Make sure you are following us on Instagram, Twitter. We have a Facebook. We don't use it that often, but definitely Facebook, definitely Instagram and Twitter to be voting for the next several weeks. Follow the Charlotte Reddit thread to get some votes in on there as well. And we will catch you all next week.
Check you later.
Bye.